As you continue to move up the ladder, don't be surprised if one day you find yourself leading employees whose work you couldn't do yourself. Different function, new team, technical expertise that you don't have. Now, before you jump in and start boning up on the actual work, it's critical to understand your responsibilities as their leader versus the functional work your employees are doing. Your job is not to know the work. Your job is to lead the work. Here's how you do that without pretending you're the expert. First, get crystal clear on outcomes, not tasks. Understand what success looks like within your priorities, your budget, your timeline, and your risk tolerance. You do that by asking questions such as, what does a great outcome look like here? How do we know if this is working? What's the business impact if this goes right? Or if it goes wrong. And one thing you absolutely need to know, the value they bring to the company. Because if somebody asks you, why does this role exist, and you can't answer it clearly, you've just made it very easy to question whether that role is needed at all. After all, if their boss doesn't know, why should their boss's boss? If you don't anchor on outcomes and values, you will get dragged straight into the weeds, and that's not helping you or your employee. Second, get curious about the work without trying to do it. You don't need to learn how to do their exact job, but you do need to understand it well enough to help them if there's a problem. So instead of positioning it as teach me, position it as, hey, walk me through how this works so I can better support you. Focus your questions here at a high level. How does this process work? Where do things typically get stuck or go sideways? And what decisions do you own and where do you need input? What makes this harder than it should be today? You're showing interest, building context, and positioning yourself as the leader and someone who can help them. Because the goal isn't to become the expert. The goal is to understand enough to ask smarter questions and help remove roadblocks. Next, focus on decision quality. You may not know the work, but you do know what good decisions look like. Ask questions that ensure your employee has looked at all angles to determine the next course of action. So listen for, are they weighing trade-offs? Are they thinking through risks? Are they aligned to the department or the company's priorities? Coach how they think, not what they do. And finally, be honest about what you know and what you don't know. In fact, say it. I'm not the expert in this space, but I can help you think through it. You don't lose credibility by saying that. You lose credibility when you pretend you know and you get it wrong. Bottom line, as you move up, you're going to understand less of the how. Case in point, think about the CEO of your company. Look, they're probably proficient in one or two areas, but they couldn't actually do the day-to-day work of all their direct reports. That's not the problem. That's the job. Your value is not in doing the work. It's in driving clarity, protecting the value of your team, and making sure the business impact is undeniable. Best of luck as always.